boys and girls. Today we're going to be doing social studies. So I'm going to need you to take out your social studies book. It's the blue cover with the little dog in the front with the words My World Interactive in the front. And you're also going to need a pencil and possibly some crayons. So if you have, you could take those three things out. So crayons, your pencil, and your book. Once you have all your things, you're going to need to turn to page number 1. And it's going to look just like this with some cute little kids playing a game. And this chapter, we're going to start with chapter 1, and it's about learning and working together. So when you work together with other students in your class, maybe your friends or with your teachers, or your cousins or family, different people, and you solve a problem or just play together, that's called cooperate or cooperation. That means that you work with others and you each have an important role to do. For example, these children in this page, it looks like they're playing a game. So that means that maybe it's going to be boys against girls, or maybe some girls are in the boys team. So they're different teams, and each team wants to win, right? So they're going to cooperate and work together so they could win. Have you ever played a game with others? If you have, were you on different teams? Were you on the same team? Um, Maybe you're on the team with your mom and sister, and you're going to play against your brother and dad, different things like that. But how do you play the game? How do you know who's going to go for the ball first? So that means that you have to talk and work together, and you can say, Mom, I'm going to get the ball. Or in this case, the little girl is probably saying, I'm closer to the ball. I got it. I'm going to pass it to you, or something like that. So when you cooperate, you have to take turns. You have to talk to each other, because you don't want both of these girls, if they're in the same team, fighting for the ball, and then they lose it because they're too busy fighting with each other. So you have to cooperate. So that's what we're going to be working on this chapter. And for our lesson today, we're going to talk a little bit about that. So then we're going to go down here where it says Jumpstart Activity. It says, look at the picture. The girls and the boys are working together to play a game. Act out how you work together with friends. So we can't do that right now, the last part, to act it out. But as I mentioned, they're working together to play a game. So everybody has an important part. Maybe this boy is in charge of not letting the girls score. So he's like the goalie, and then this boy has to go after the ball. So they all have an important job, but together they're working together to win the game. So everybody's important. So we're going to turn the page. We're going to skip this page. Or actually, I'll read it over with you. So it says, we go to school. So it says, we go to school each day. We learn in every way. We learn to read and write and spell. We learn to work and play. So I really like this last sentence. We learn to work and play. So when you go to school, or we're in school, whether it's during our Zoom meeting in the morning, where we're on our Chromebooks and you're listening to me talk, or Miss Karen, or any of your teachers, there's a time for you to work, which is when we ask you to complete activities, to look for the answer, to read something. So there's time for that, but there's also time for play. So after we're done with school, you're able to go out and play, or watch TV, or play with your sister or brother. So this is play. And then when you're in school, it's time to work. So that's when you need to focus. These two words are yellow because they're vocabulary words. That means those are words that you need to know what they mean. So school is the building where you go to learn different things. But right now, as we know, schools are closed because of everything that's going on. But our school looks a little bit different. That's when we get on the computer and you listen to your teacher teach you different things, and you do your work at home or at your babysitter's or wherever you may be learning. And then learn is when you get to see new things and know how to do them and what they mean. So those are our two vocabulary words. So go ahead and turn the page, and then it should be this cute little owl. I'm going to move this down. It says, make a rule for your class. It says, I am Ollie Owl. Can you help me make some new class rules? Rules help us work together and stay safe. That is true. So when we go to school or we go to a building or anything like that, there's always rules that we have to follow, and rules allow us to stay safe and feel comfortable and that nothing bad happens to us. Like maybe if we're not following the rules of walking, we might bump into somebody or push somebody on accident, and that's not being very safe, and that other person could get really hurt. They might hit their head or fall down and cut or scrape their knees or anything like that. So we're not in the classroom, but we can still make class rules. So we'll do them together. It's a little bit hard to do it since I'm not talking to you, but I'll think of things that I did when I was in school and also things that I've done in the classroom too with my other students. So this is number 1. What are some rules you follow? And it says draw your ideas. So I'm going to think of some rules that I follow. And like I mentioned, I said I walk in line. So there's no running in line. So I'm going to try my best to draw. So I'm going to draw some students walking, facing forward. And so this little girl is walking, and this little boy is walking too, and he's looking forward, paying attention to where he's going to make sure that they don't bump into each other. So I'm going to draw a little boy again. His hands are going to be next to his body. And this is another boy. So I walk. Another rule that I follow, and it's very important, is that I raise my hand when I want to speak. So that makes sure that my teacher can see me and she's able to call my name, and I could share what I think the answer is or the question is, and I'm able to share. But I make sure to stay quiet until my teacher calls my name. I wait my turn to speak. Another rule that I follow is that I always do my best work. So if I have homework that says to, or classwork that says to practice writing my letters, I'm going to try my best to do them as nicely as I can. I'm not going to rush and finish. So I could be the first one. I'm going to take my time. So this one was I walk. I raise my hand. And then I do my work neatly. So neat work. So now you could pause this video a little bit and don't take your time, but don't take too much time. Just think of three rules that you follow maybe at home or at school. If you've been to school before or in preschool, draw 3 things that you do at home. So maybe if you're thinking of home, you may say that you do your bed, or that you help your mom cook, or that you don't eat any dessert before dinner. That's a rule that my mom has, that I can't eat any ice cream until after I finish my dinner. But if you think of some that rules that you follow at school, you could do that as well. And if you're having trouble, you could copy mine. But you're more than welcome to do your own. So after that, we're going to change our page. Flip over to our first lesson of the day. So this is our big question. This is what we have to be able to answer by the end of this lesson, is I will know how to act at school. So our first lesson is where we learn. So we usually learn at school. So that's how we have to know how to act in school. There's certain rules that we have to follow in order to be able to learn and to be safe. So as I mentioned, at the end of our lesson, we have to know how we act in school. Does that mean that we run around and make a mess everywhere? Or does it mean I push kids in the slide? Or does the way that I have to act at school mean I take turns and I slide down the slide the right way and things like that? But before we could answer that, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to read this to you. And it says, Lesson 1, where we learn. What we do. School is a place where we learn to read. School is also a place where we learn, besides reading, we learn our numbers and how to count and different rules and ways to stay safe and different things like that, not just how to read. We find out something new when we learn. So this is, some of you may not know all your letter names and sounds, some of you might, but a lot of you don't, so that's something new that you will learn in kindergarten. We learn how to share books, yes you do, and we learn to sing songs. So we learn to sing songs too, and I love learning different songs about we are going to learn some about different social studies topics, maybe some science, but we learn a lot of songs for our letter names and their sounds and our sight words that we're going to be learning this year. So this is number 1, reading check. Talk about what you learn in school. So we're going to go back and see where it talks about learning. So it says, we find out something new when we learn. We learn how to share books and we learn to sing songs. So it says that we learn how to share books. So we're going to go ahead and underline how to share books. So make sure you make a line there. And it says we learn to sing songs. So put another line under there. And I'm going to make this one darker so you're able to see it nicely. So those are 2 different things that we learn at school. There's a lot more that we learn, such as, like I mentioned, how we learn about math and adding our numbers, what 14 means, how to subtract. We also know our sight words and how to start reading simple words. So there's a lot of things that we learn at school. So, but we're gonna, in the little paragraph here, it mentions these 2. So then we're gonna go to the next page, and it says how we act. This is how you should act at school. So it says, we have a choice about how we act. A choice is the act of picking one thing from 2 or more things. So that's So choice is having the to pick between things. For example,